Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lorelines. Fowl and Hawk speaking. Episode 38 today. This week we had the Endwalker trailer official lyrics released. I love this week every time it comes. Really excited to talk to everyone. Comms are open. Hello, greetings.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Meowdy.
Hi.
And before Meowth says Bondi.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Testing.
I hope everyone did okay this week, you know?
Aside from the minor meltdown about the lyrics being posted,
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that was like a sudden reversal of things. We were planning on doing the whole theory crafting thing, but I mean, we're gonna include part of this too, because yeah, the lyrics are part of our theory crafting.
yes, considering that they generally tell the story of the expansion, yeah.
So I don't know if we should give ourselves like massive pats on the back, but I think as a team we did like 70% of the lyrics correct. I don't know. Took a couple rounds.
We did great.
Nah, I did like 10% of the lyrics correct.
I was awful. Like, don't ever come to me for lyrics, but
I leave these to clever
Sorry, I was
minds.
getting bread and butter, but yes, it's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
No singing louder. I'll never tell you when my birthday is ever again.
Now, someone sent
We already
him
know.
a Fan Daniel body pillow.
oh, I
Yeah,
wanted to
we
sing.
need to like.
Oh
We need to,
man.
we need to get Fan Daniel to sing you happy birthday.
Oh my goodness, that'd be
I will-
terrifying.
I will
love
have a
it.
drink for you.
I'm thinking on stage,
you.
like curtain drawn, dancing around, very dramatic.
Off to the bone
Cabaret
zone with
style?
me then.
Yeah, cabaret Van Daniel birthday song.
Yeah, maybe a few dead bodies.
Maybe a few dying bodies.
Better and better.
So how's everyone else? Yes, we're looking at you, chat.
Yeah, let's hear it.
How was your week?
I don't know, they seem stuck on the birthday Fan Daniel pole dance.
There is a slight delay on the
I
upload.
mean, who wouldn't be?
Right?
That's pretty normal.
Too hype sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah, same.
Yes.
Keep looking at the trailer and noticing new things, and I'm like, what about this, guys? What
Right.
about that?
Yeah.
So, like usually,
just
you
noticed.
know, there's 4 to 2 weeks between launch trailer and the release, and then they drop the launch trailer, and then gave us extra time after that. And I'm just like, oh, this is
torturous.
yeah, like
Again.
Yeah.
it felt like everyone was holding their breath in like anticipation, and then the launch trailer hit, and everyone just kind of exploded, and then they're like 2 more weeks, and I'm like, "Argh!"
Again, more time to play Pokemon. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, like they release the lyrics and the entire fan base just becomes the sound because we're all shrieking.
Our
Collective
cacophonous.
meltdown.
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, I'm not used to them releasing the lyrics this far ahead of an expansion. I'm used to them
Same.
releasing the lyrics, you know, while the servers are down for maintenance for the expansion to come out.
So I
Yeah.
think that they were scheduled to release on that day, and they just didn't reschedule it.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I
my
was thinking.
expectation as well.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, well, it's not really worth moving it. Let's just give them something else to keep them whipped to a frenzy.
Yup.
Yeah.
Meowth. Meowth.
Is she okay?
Yeah, I'm listening.
You haven't said a word since the beginning. How are you? How are you doing? Can you speak?
That's totally untrue. She said, "Oh, we're live."
Yes, yes.
Oh. Blink twice if you're in distress.
She doesn't have a VTuber avatar, so.
That's the joke.
Oh no.
Oh, my lord.
Oh,
She
do you
has
want to
sensitive
tell
mic.
everyone, Arden?
Yes.
Wait, what am I? Huh? What?
So you updated your name on the stream profile. I don't
Yeah.
think everyone is aware.
I mean, I'm not doing anything yet.
But soon.
Soon, TM. Soon,
Yeah.
TM, I will be doing VTuber things. Yay.
Your new character is what, Arden Talavir?
Yes.
It's pretty exciting.
And I split my Twitter accounts and whatever so that my book stuff is on my old account and then all my content creation stuff will be on the other one.
How's Sarah doing?
buried in writing commissions lately. Apparently, more people than I anticipated wanted me to write fan fiction for them.
Oh, that's right. I remember
Nice.
you. Yeah, yeah. I remember. I remember the post. It's very exciting. So you're booked at the moment.
I am. I have a waiting list.
Alas.
It's a little weird, but it's good. It feels nice to be able to help people bring their Warriors of Light to life. Warriors of Light to life.
So if anyone needs Warrior of Light fan fiction from Core Healer, too bad
Or
for now.
smut, or poetry. I do all kinds, all ships.
What about all of those rolled together?
Elmo love poetry.
Not
Honestly,
in that order.
I have done that too. So I would be happy to do that too.
Just don't commission me. I'm terrible.
I
No,
will
your
say
writing is
that,
good.
Data says
Actually, I
we're all
haven't
going to be
written in a
feral
while.
on release day. The servers are going to be on fire pretty much.
It's true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
true.
I'm already thinking I'm probably gonna have to have a backup game for while the servers are having Robot Extreme 2.0.
You know, I have some thoughts about that actually. I was around for the Raubon terror of Stormblood, but I
Same.
didn't experience it. I was playing it so slowly that I never had to deal with it.
How? It's in like the first hour. of
Also,
Stormblood.
I
Excalibur,
don't
you need to
know.
get your shit together.
I don't know, Cobran, but maybe it's partly to do with the same principle as why I had a Max Fisher before any battle job in Shadowbringers.
I mean, to be fair, I maxed out my gathering pretty much before I got through Raubon. Because I had nothing else to do.
Yeah, a lot of people
Excalibur,
started,
let's see, the Raubon on Excalibur, we didn't exactly form a line. We just kind of dogpiled Raubon. And then because we were so bored waiting around, people began pulling treants into the
Mhm.
people with cutscenes and knocking them out and just hoping that they would hop in by themselves.
I mean,
So
that
yeah.
plus the bear fate.
I love the Bear Fate.
Gosh.
I did that a few times.
I still love
waiting
the
for
Bear
Robon.
Yeah, I did a lot of fates. I was actually lucky. At the time I wasn't working, so I just sort of went to bed, got up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and was able to get in.
Lucky.
So how about today's episode?
Yeah, I was thinking we should hop over to the topic. So I have the Square Enix official page up on our windowed and full screen scenes. Let's see. Thank you for the follows, everybody.
Zombie, I don't believe Bond changed their name to do that. It's more of a branding sorting out of life stuff.
So I'm not sure. Let's see here.
Pie's getting a new glam in Endwalker. I'm excited.
I'm not sure how we should proceed. Should we play the trailer again for fun and kind of scroll through the lyrics? Do we want to just start discussing?
The trailer has lyrics over it. Isn't there a trailer that actually has lyrics
There
over
is.
it?
It's another creator. We can
can
certainly
find that,
give
yeah.
credit.
And then we
Oh,
can
do you
just
mean
kind of
the
go.
good ones.
Quasi's video where
Yes,
like,
that one.
yeah, within like half a fucking hour he had that up with the lyrics.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was quick.
It's like pre-rendered. Just threw in the.
I saw one that was like no ads, and I was like, yes, thank you. Went straight
Yeah,
to
that's
that
not a
one.
problem. Let me pull one of these up.
Credit to Quasi.
I mean, to be fair, they probably had all the timing and everything done. They just needed to paste in what the actual lyrics were.
So first of all, thank you for Quasi for posting this. I'm giving you a like right here on our official account.
And hit the bell because we're not dicks.
Where's the bell at these days?
You have
Bell.
to hit subscribe first.
Oh no. There it is. All right, all. There we go. And thank you for posting this.
Like, follow, subscribe in that order.
Yep.
I'm a YouTuber.
Sure you are, dear. I mean that with love.
Half sarcasm.
Aw.
All right, so the browser does have audio. Last time I didn't do that right. All right, let's just start it over. If it's too loud, let me know. If it's not loud enough, let me know. And lyrics are on the thing.
star had begun to fray, its land rent by tooth and claw.
Are you all right?
I can look after myself, you know. And I've had enough of this rot. Come on!
As the chaos spread, the star seemed doomed to unravel, and yet... there were those who stood in defiance of that fate.
The hour is come, Vritra. It's all or nothing.
The stage is set, but will our heroes deign to play their part? You took your time. 'Tis as we feared. The respite afforded this land was but fleeting. The end draweth nigh.
I knew it. This star still has secrets to tell. Take care, my friend.
So, Charlian would keep its counsel while the world is lost to ruin.
It would. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must, then. But we scions will fight. Until the heavens fall. Until our last breath.
Past the far edge of fate. Ring blades dark and light. Tolling the coming of the end.
Not gonna lie, after Timothy Watson's little thing yesterday, I snicker every time I hear Urianger.
Yeah, a little bit.
We've been waiting for years for him to do that.
I hear someone singing.
Yeah, it's my daughter. Oh, a sneeze.
Such a catchy song.
So good.
I think I
It
get more
really is.
chills. I get more chills this time now, knowing what the ending is like. The end lyrics is just
What a
it's great.
glorious trailer.
Yeah, it's just
Very
so damn
exciting.
good.
Sludge Prince asked what happened. What do you... Sorry.
So his voice actor, Timothy Watson, went on a small segment with the others. Thank his voice actor and Ali Says.
Alize,
And
yeah.
and at the end, the host asked the voice actors to do a few memes.
Oh, yes.
And Timothy Watson was sent my milkshake meme, and he actually read through it
Yep.
in Urianger's voice.
If you haven't seen
As-
it, it's just
And
so
speech
priceless.
pattern.
It's
As
so
well
good.
as the paste not mine sub.
Ah, you mean the KupaCon interview?
Correct, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And if you're in our Discord, you can find it in the memes channel because it got posted a couple times because we were all dying.
Yeah,
It was
it was
amazing.
really good.
I'm somewhat
was-
familiar with KupaCon. They contacted me like 4 or 5 years ago. They have one in their art book. There's one of my pieces.
Oh, that's
Wow.
So
awesome.
thank you
Nice.
to KupaCon, thank you Unaleska, and the entire cast. Thank you Timothy Watson for doing that. Our
Yes.
dream came true.
Yeah, no,
Verily, their interview art better than mine.
Let's just say Moonbrita chose a younger man because the hotness.
Because he can spit fire.
Yeah, right?
I think I might die legitimately if they ever got Renee Zagger on there,
Yeah, fair.
or like the
Yeah.
Exarch if they got Gratia.
Just get both of them for pure chaos.
Yes,
Please let them have a rap battle.
Oh my god.
or and Daniel Asahi's voice actor.
But
And
anyways,
yes.
back to the lyrics.
Yes, Zanetta, we are just huge nerds. Dude, that's the only reason we do this.
Yeah, the one risk of our I love our podcast is that we love the content so much that we get derailed sometimes. So any newcomers, welcome, and that is just who we are. So
Yep,
Chaos.
All right.
Archbringer.
did you say chaos?
No.
Trying to make these readable
I'm
here.
trying to find it. It's in the memes channel of our Discord, people.
Looking at the lyrics, I'm wondering if anybody in the world guessed Autumn Tide. I looked at that and my first impulse, and it wasn't very charitable, and it's probably not true, but my first thought was they did that so that we wouldn't be able to figure it out.
Yeah,
Probably.
No,
I mean,
I
for
heard
some way.
rot in time, and
Rot
I
in
know a lot
time.
of people were saying rot in tide,
Yeah.
but I don't think
Yeah.
anyone said
I-
autumn tide.
I went to fight with y'all. I was like, fight me, it's not time, it's tide. But I definitely didn't get Autumn.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them
Yeah.
like that. There's one further down that I'll
Mhm.
mention. It's just meant to distort. There's no way if you speak the general, like, across the pond, our end, like the U.S. side dialect of English, you're just not going to catch some of these.
Mhm.
Or if
I will.
if you're not an English native speaker like me, I was like these guys were like, let's figure the lyrics out, and I was like, yeah, don't trust my judgment here.
She just says good luck.
Yeah,
It does help a little bit. I've had some vocal training myself and some learning, and one thing you do want to do, you don't want to sing in American. When you sing, you actually put on a very British sort of sound because that makes the words understandable instead of sounding so you don't get things like loss or fire and flame. There's no and there, it's an I'm mad.
Some of the enunciation
hire
is
people
just
that can
really
enunciate.
weird.
So, Heart of Ember, right? Obviously, the Azem Stone or some reference to
Ember, not
So yeah,
it's ember and not amber, so it's kind
yeah,
of
and ember would be like an orangish color, and it does remind me of the Asm stone, but I'm not. I mean, it's definitely a central piece of this first part of the song, but
Um,
I'm not convinced.
oh, go ahead.
Okay,
I do
I'm done.
think that it's safe to say that a lot of this is going to make a lot more sense in hindsight, but there are some
Mm.
things we can guess from it. I do see the ember thing as being like flames of hope. This is like its smoldering heart waiting to burst into flame again. Because one thing I'd pointed out in the Discord about embers is it's not just what's left after a fire, but it can be kindled into a fire again.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's driving me crazy is the second line makes me think, that heart of ember is bleeding light. So I'm like, is that referencing the wall or another entity?
I can see your brain going like this story you wrote about the warrior of light being some sort of sin eater flesh like that I can see you.
So this, I actually have a theory regarding this, and it ties into the third stanza. If you look at the second line after Heart of Ember, the second time it pops up. So we have cooling swiftly, bleeding light, and the next one is, I believe,
burning brightly.
Yeah, burning brightly, hot and white, and it takes me back to that thermodynamics video, and it makes me think that the first stanza is about Heidelin, and the third one is from Zodiark's perspective.
That's an interesting possibility. I was looking at the marching forward and left behind. I'm sure that's referring to Sundered and the Ancients, Sundered Life and the Ancients. So it's, I don't know if it's a strictly this refers to the Warrior of Light. It could be a sort of the whole world is slowly cooling and going into a winter or whatever,
right?
Due to the presence of a primal of stasis.
And the whole biding time reminds me of Heidelin basically buying time for the world to figure out how to actually save the world through sundering it.
Yeah.
Which is my own personal theory.
If it wasn't going to be a one and done, then removing magic as a danger from the world might give us some time.
Well, that's much what Venat did in the Evil series.
Right. Did anybody take the marching forward left behind as at the end of the final days being left behind but being forced to march forward through time?
I considered that, and I also considered it that it could be referencing the now and not, the original final days.
See, I pair it with the last line of the second stanza before our echoes begin to fade, which seems a pretty strong reference to the ancients and how the Unsundered are now no longer in commission per se, but the knowledge is still there, and all that.
Right.
Fire be repaid is like it sounds. I mean, coupled with the later Heavensward and Stormblood sections, it seems to me like a cry for justice from the ancients' voice.
I agree. I would say this definitely sounds like a desire for revenge.
I'm very curious.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's. I mean, for me, I said justice because. But yeah,
I would say that repaid is very, very neutral in itself and takes the connotation of whatever's around it. Like, if the fire is bad and killing people and we're like, no, we're gonna get our revenge on you, but it's not really a story about revenge usually. I wonder if something was wronged and forgotten and now it's going to be given its due, but I'm not sure. The fire as shadows clash and fire will be repaid is so weird, and I'm really looking forward to understanding that, because I just look at that and I'm like, yeah, I got nothing.
Shadows. I mean, for me, the shadows part, it refers to the ancients mostly because I'm having Hades' battle in mind, and the ad face is features the shadows of the ancients.
Well, let me put on my tinfoil real quick.
Please.
Fire as shadows clash could be referencing Ascian Civil War.
Yep.
Forgotten Footfalls engraved in ash could be us retracing Ozum's original steps to find out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And then fire will be repaid could be, the action after we find out the truth.
I do think we are going to find truth, like the launch trailer says. Which is the truth in all other languages. I'm sure it's referring to him itself, though.
I know this is super surface level, but I do think it's important to note that fire creates ash.
Yes.
And the final days, we see the entire world on fire. That would be the that would have caused the ash. That would have, preserved those footsteps.
Yeah. So this could be just simply literal.
This is probably the point where I should mention that we've been seeing Phoenix and Rise from the Ashes themes since Shadowbringers in 5.3, the To the Edge lyrics.
Not just
things
that,
changed, drawn to the flame to rise from the ashes.
I would say since Realm Reborn.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for that too, but I meant more recently.
Yeah, the whole ash thing. Nila is probably going to get this. Diasire, diasila. You know.
I don't recognize that one.
You don't? It's the Diasire. I mean, I don't know exactly.
Oh, Dies Irae. I'm sorry, I was just having trouble parsing it.
Yeah, well.
Day of Wrath, Day of Reckoning. It's that brings me on the and it'll come up many times, but there's a lot of the final days have a lot of apocalypse and specifically biblical revelation stuff in them.
Day of Wrath, O Day of Mourning, see fulfilled the prophet's warning.
I was going precisely for the XIV.
Yeah, I think the one I know the best would be the Mozart.
That's a good one.
Heaven and earth in ashes burning.
If they include, because the Dies Irae it's a melody that that later other authors like, I don't know which one was the Totentanz, but anyways, later in history, composers have included this melody, which is known as the Dies Irae, in stuff that is related to death or the apocalypse. So if I get to hear the Dies Irae leitmotif in Endwalker, I'm going to flip my shit. Anyways,
crazy.
Musical rambling.
For those who want to reference, the wiki has a decent reading.
Yeah.
So who actually thinks that, the male part literally ends at sorrow, silence we needn't bear, and then goes in the female part? Or do we think that's going to be a mashup of Endwalker plus our unknown female song?
Yes.
I find it interesting.
The launch trailer was sung in male, right?
Yeah, that's what I was starting to say when you.
Sorry.
I was going to say there was a part in the launch trailer where those lyrics, or some very, very similar, were sung in the male voice. So I'm very interested.
And we know that the title screen is going to be the female part.
I'm wondering how many vocal themes we have for Endwalker, because I'm starting to strongly suspect it's more than 2.
I think it's going to be a lot.
I mean, going from this, I'm seeing 5 different perspectives in this song alone.
Yeah, and
so it
should be interesting.
5.
And we know that this song specifically is Sam Carter from The Architects and Amanda Aiken, who did Tomorrow and Tomorrow. But then the launch trailer version is Jason Charles Miller, who was the vocalist for both Shadowbringers and To the Edge. So that's 3 major vocalists right there. And
plus
we suspect
know
Susan.
Yeah, so that's 4.
This should be interesting.
Susan has been very vocal lately about things and using the 14 hashtag. So I don't know. I'm expecting something, but then again, she could just be using it to promote her own stuff. So
Well, from what I saw, she was also on tour when she was doing all the like mentions on her Twitter. But it's entirely possible that she's back for some song. I'm kind of expecting we might have a duet between, the voice of Zodiark and Hydaelyn at this point.
That would be awesome.
The only thing that's weird to me about that is, didn't they say that Endwalker Footfalls is
sung from the perspective of Hydaelyn and Zodiark? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
is
doesn't add up
specific to the launch, to the launch, or the trailer. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
it doesn't
also-
quite add up to me.
I will say it could be those two taking the perspective of their quote unquote children in certain cases too.
True.
Like saying Zodiark being like, well, I'm not literally an ancient, but I can take the perspective of those that worship me or whatever. I don't know. Just a guess. It is very odd though.
Mm-hmm.
Be fair, if I'm reading this, I'm reading this more like it fits more the perspective of Zodiark than the perspective of Hydaelyn.
I do agree with that.
Which I mean, it would be fair considering that the first in this arc, not counting 1.0, the first expansion or story arc song, which is Answers, is absolutely sung from Hydaelyn's perspective. If we're going to close the circle with Zodiark's perspective, then it would be balanced. That's the way I see it, though.
So, go ahead.
I like how in this next Autumn Tide section, it says burning brightly, hot and white, as if, the ember has been kindled more.
It's actually really interesting from a scientific perspective because embers usually burn orange, or if they're really, really hot, they'll burn yellow. To burn white, that's got to be really insanely hot.
That's melting metal temperatures.
Yes.
Protostar levels of hot.
I was just about to say, it's like a star's core.
That's fair.
You've angered the wall really badly.
It's something I've mused on before, because when we see the sun, at least in the intro cutscene, when it does a little dance around us, it's very orange. It's like Asm crystal orange, which I'm wondering is probably not a coincidence.
Yeah,
or
I
is
agree.
Something they referred back to when they were considering what color.
I don't think any of it's coincidence. I think the sun metaphors are abound.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like a newborn star would be like blue-white.
Yeah.
Maybe we go through a rebirth and our soul becomes blue-white because it's new and
our
it's
soul
hot.
is blue.
We also have the massive.
The denser it gets, it should still have the color, but just be bright.
Yeah.
Wait, if our soul is blue, that means if it gets inverted, it'll be orange.
Oh yeah, I've lost my mind over that a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, now I'm losing my mind over it.
We have no minds left. We're out of minds.
Yeah, we're too close to Endwalker for any of us to have sanity left.
I mean, I'm still hung up on Asphodelis.
My brain has already leaked out of my ears like a week and a half ago.
Did you want to touch on Asphodelis?
I think we'll get to that, right?
We will
get
to
it.
it.
Excellent.
For now. But yeah, the kindred severed neverwhere is a very odd phrase. People were saying that Neverwhere is a book or book series.
It is. It's a Neil Gaiman
I don't know
novel.
much about.
Yeah. So let me give you a rundown on Neverwhere. It's a novel, and it's also a TV series, but the novel is more well known, about a man who becomes invisible and can only be seen by one person and journeys through the underworld.
Indeed.
Well, where have we seen that before?
Yeah, both of those things.
I do think the kindred severed is pretty straightforward. The sundering divided people's souls. The Neverwhere is that.
Yeah, basically, I mean, Neverwhere, I think, has multiple meanings, but basically they're nowhere because they are, they're split across so many areas. Yeah, they're everywhere and they're nowhere.
Sure.
It could also be the multi-dimensional thing, yeah. But
how many of y'all have played Tales of Berseria?
No.
Me.
Nope.
I have played that, yes.
So you remember how the They're not called angels. What are they called? Fuck. They're originally not visible to all of humankind.
Muggles?
No.
No Way Don't Care says Therians.
God, it's been a while. Yeah, that sounds.
So Velvet
Rings a bell.
specifically is a Therian, but
Yeah,
there's an
Therian.
overarching term for the rest of them. Oh, what is it called? But basically, there's an event at the start of Berseria when you're going through the prologue.
Chat's trying to help us.
Yeah.
Data Roxas says Matlix.
Malkin?
Matlix.
Well, Malik. That would be
Malik.
Arabic for
Malix.
angel. Actually,
Malix.
if you didn't know, Malik is Arabic for angel. Or Malak is.
Malak.
I'm checking really quick because now it's gonna bug me. Yeah, Malachim.
Hellions.
Yeah,
Maliki
I
as in
looked it up.
Malachi?
It's Malakim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Malachim.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds Hebrew.
It is.
Yeah. So originally, the rest of the world can't see the Malachim. Only some people can, and the people who can create this like bond with them to use their power. And then there's this event that happens that renders all of them visible. And throughout the story, you find out that Malachim are just basically other people, other races, and they're getting forced to like serve through these bonds that are being made.
I'm sure everyone is aware, but in case they aren't, both Arabic and Hebrew are Semitic languages. They would share roots. So
Yeah.
Bonnie,
Yeah, I
were
don't
you-
actually speak Hebrew, but I've been able to tease bits of it out because they're so similar.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie, were you inspired by this shit for Shadow Pact?
Nope. That's the funny part. I wrote that before. But so the reason I bring it up is because the Asians can't be perceived unless they will it so.
Right.
Hmm.
They're
Exactly.
ghosts,
And
basically.
it gives me very big vibes of the Malachim in Tales of Berseria. So now my brain is going like, okay, so what if there's more ancients than just the Asians around and no one's been able to see them this entire time because they're like phased.
Yeah, they're just out. Yeah, that's totally possible. I wanted to.
It'd be more than just her.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly like Vanilla. Yeah, that makes so much sense. That's a good thought.
We need a tinfoil hat to put on Bond's head right now.
I know.
I want to tear apart the word neverwhere really quick. I know it's just two words, but it's not just no place, right? Never is, it's got time involved with it. So never means has never been, right? It's just it's not just not presently. It's never, right?
It's
Right,
like they've
correct.
been forgotten.
This is a place that doesn't exist, but not just physically. It's outside of time. This is a neverwhere. This is a neverwhere in that sense.
In a sense, the world could be interpreted as the same as utopia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. Data Roxas has exactly the right of it. It's like the world that never was in Kingdom Hearts 2. Exactly.
I mean,
In that
it could
sense.
be utopia. Utopia means literally no place.
Mm-hmm. Which is
Which is
funny. We
fun,
talk
I
about
love that.
dystopias all the time in modern.
Because dystopia means everywhere, constantly, all the time. It doesn't actually. I'm being a smartass.
And then obviously kindred severed just means people close to you are completely removed from each other.
We're
Do
gonna
you
start
wonder about
forgetting
this-
people.
To be severed to neverwhere is quite a dramatic, like, overkill statement. So it clearly has meaning that really matters.
I just had a thought. If we were to be severed, aka like maybe like killed or something for that rebirth that we keep thinking about, like potentially happening, what if the neverwhere that we go to is in the underworld, and it's like some kind of recreation of that neverwhere utopia? The Redux of Amarant, maybe?
I'm so ready for this game.
Remember that draft I scrapped where I had the ruins of Amaron in the underworld?
Yes, and you left me with that another of your damn cliffhangers, and that one too. But
So
yes, I do recall.
Bonnie is the queen of keeping people in suspense and waiting and edging and all that stuff.
Uh-oh.
She's an author.
Yeah. I do think that Neverwhere could also refer to the fact that the cycle of life and death in 14, where souls go into the life stream, they're reborn, but these souls that were sundered are not being reborn whole; they're being reborn in pieces, and so they're not whole. They're not reappearing as they should be, so they're not truly there.
View,
That's an interesting interpretation as well. I could see that being, I could see that working.
It could even be that all of these interpretations are simultaneously correct.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I was
true.
thinking. I was like, I don't think they all exclude each other.
No, they don't. They are not mutually exclusive. And No Way Don't Care says, how big will Endwalker be? It'll be insane. I'm actually predicting Endwalker is going to be 8 zones.
I hope you're right. I'm ready for it.
Most likely going to be like a multi-layer code.
Like they're gonna tease us and think, oh, it's actually over. Nope, not really. It's actually continuing.
I really could see it.
I could also see them initially doing, the typical 6 or 7 zones, but then us getting an 8th in like 6.1 or 6.2, depending on how the story goes.
Rabbit Aster.
I want to touch on something Bonnie just said in chat regarding the Seed of Sacrifice lyrics, and just reiterating, because we've mentioned it a few times over the past many streams, but it's been a while, right? Like the 3 Unsundered have visual images in game that denote wings. The angel thing has been here forever.
Yes.
And I wish we had those shots up, but
I'm sure Neela has them somewhere still.
They're in the negative, and I think one of them has yeah, so with Emmett Selk, it's the artwork in Amarant. It's the door, right?
Yeah, it's the doors in Amarant.
And then with La Habrea, it's the missing space.
It's the webby thing in the back.
Yeah, the
behind
webs.
Him in
That's right, in Totorak at the very beginning.
And then is framed on the door in the chrysalis, so that the wings around the door look like his wings.
That's it. That's the
Which
third
I want to
one.
point out in the launch trailer, what we presume to be Zodiark. If you pay attention and pause it on the right frame, you can see that he does have wings there.
I don't have much to say about stories sown along the way. Tales of Loss and Fire and Faith. We know it's sung by a female vocalist, so we have some things to say here about that, but nothing too deep, right?
I had something on Sorrow's Silence.
Oh, go for it, please.
I just find it interesting, this silence, especially because the Warrior of Light has largely been a silent protagonist, though that has become less and less the case as we go on. I wonder if this is going to be a finally, like, fully unleashed or something. It would be great anyway.
I would like to awaken, even if it's just in a series of cutscenes or a limited phase, like the Star Wars Empire Sentinel thing.
If I may, Neela, do you recall when I ran the Lord I've run of Line Returns Final Fantasy 13, that line about the sound of true despair is silence. And the souls of the dead kept crying out because they had hope.
There's that word again, hope.
Yeah, I was going to say there was one person that didn't voice his despair. Precisely.
I found the wing screenshots.
Excellent. I'll pull them up. Got them. All right, I'm going to pull this up for everybody.
Oh, wow, I never noticed that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's real blatant.
The Totorak one was already framed up and ready to go all the way back in 2.0 release proper.
So starting with Emmett Selk, we have his wings. Angel of Truth, by the way, is his official Scion of Light subtitle moniker.
I've taken to calling it an epithet because
yes,
it's
thank
already
you.
titled.
Pick a word. We'll go with epithet. I will try to remember that.
Yeah, epithet.
It's like going moon.
I have a headcanon that each Emmett Selk has their own epithet, and this specific Emmett Selk, Hades, is Angel of Truth, and the other guy might have been something else, but that's
fair.
just a silly thought I had.
That's actually an interesting idea. Yeah.
All right, so now we've got Elidibus coming up here. Just a moment. Elidibus in the chrysalis, his wings.
Well, I guess he seemed more like Zodiac.
I'm
Because
still
he's the
suspicious
Yeah,
of that
it's
final
still-
key thing.
Looking at this thing back, okay, I can explain the final key thing incidentally. But looking at this back in hindsight, you'd be like, "Damn it, they already knew he was Zodiac's heart. They just weren't telling us." Ah,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely, including
final
the
key-
art on his cloak. I mean,
yeah. The final key thing. So if you look at it in French and German and Japanese, it actually gives quite a bit less confusing and more data. They speak of a simple human who must, they speak of a transcendent being who must appear as a simple human. It's talking about Unokalhai.
Hmm.
all that remains is to nurture the strength of the gifted, to forge the final key.
I still find the final key thing. It just sounds so dramatic, so I love it.
It almost reminds me of that whole Gateway of the Gods thing Bandana was talking about.
Yeah, I'm very worried actually, since they seem to be trying to access the moon among other things. I'm a little worried.
I'm really excited. I said this in chat, but like, I want the the squad from the first, right? I want Gaia and Reen and Sayela and Unakalhai and everyone. I want there to be a sequence where they're B team. I still want it. I want it so bad.
I'm
all
waiting
the-
on 7.0 for them.
Yeah, the Elidibus created Warriors of Light and all the hunters and everything.
Oh
The
boy.
B team. It would be good.
And
So what I'm getting from this, Foul, is
Yeah.
if while we're going through the MSQ, we get a meanwhile on the first.
Yeah.
transition,
Yeah.
We're just going to scream.
Yeah, lots of Final Fantasy IV meanwhiles. I'm ready for it.
And we could totally have Gaia as Logriff, open a big portal and allow them all to come visit.
I'm waiting for Gaia to find the Asian handbook so she can learn all her spells again.
Exactly.
I'm just waiting for it. I mean, listen, Reen does
Asian
incarnate
for
summoning,
dummies.
okay? And Gaia's got Asian powers, so bring it, man. I'm ready.
As
Even
in
just-
teleportation magic for dummies.
I was gonna say we need to borrow her copy of the Echo for Dummies.
Yes.
Because we also could stand to learn to use it a little better. Speaking of that blue.
So here's our pathetic La Habrea.
I love him.
He's that twisted, poisony web wings. It's kind of really symbolic, honestly, of the decay he's been through.
Yes,
Yeah.
and very well, decay is a good word for it, but I would say twisted and
Yeah.
tainted even.
It's not
He-
pretty.
I mean, he is the Abyssal Celebrant, so.
Yep.
You thought it was Gulas, but no, it was me, Guhabrea.
That wasn't helping.
Sorry. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
the
just doing the
Ghost
JoJo
Bubbles.
memes, so I'm gonna do all of them, all right?
Kubusbrea.
Well, anyway.
So, I actually have something to say about stories sewn along the way, and that. I think the stories sewn along the way refers to those first three stanzas as a whole. These are all taken individually, separate stories that we're seeing. And one is a tale of loss, one's a tale of fire, and one is a tale of faith.
Interestingly, I had a different interpretation. I interpreted it as the expansions: loss being ARR, faith being Heaven's Word, and fire being Stormblood. Don't have anyone for Shadowbringer, so maybe it doesn't add up.
I mean, it could be more than one.
I mean,
All
I
of these
guess
stories
if
are
we're
written
just-
from multiple.
and this is something I only noticed the other day. They don't have an ARR representation. They only have the expansions, which is fine because working answers into this could have gotten really weird and scary, and it's not a problem. But I noticed that, so maybe loss is Shadowbringers and fire is Stormblood and faith is Heaven's Word. I don't know.
It's possible, but I feel like the first three stanzas are the story of the star. And then after that, we have the dragons, which are from the dragon star. And so they get their own kind of separate thing outside of that.
I mean, loss would fit Shadowbringers nicely, starting from the fact that they lost the night.
Yeah, and most of their world.
Yeah.
Honestly, like all three of those could apply to the first. The fire of having to go through all like that turmoil and chaos afterwards, and then also like having faith that the darkness would return one day.
I'm also remembering in the ladder cutscene how Artbert says something along the lines of retread the path, and if we take this line, it's going backwards, starting a loss. If loss is Shadowbringers, fire is Stormblood, and faith is Heavensward is going backwards.
That's what I was realizing.
Yeah, it's going backwards.
So the dragon lyrics. Obviously they could just literally refer to the dragons, but these are very much Ancient Shade vibe lyrics.
Yeah. So there was someone on Twitter who actually broke this down in comparison to Dragon Speak in Heavensward, and there's some translation misses in the official translation compared to the patterns that they noticed from Heavensward.
So this is Azuvi Phoenix on Twitter. I put it up for us.
So I thought this was really
it's sort of like a command then. Interesting.
Yes. So
it's not all my brothers are waking up. It's all my brothers wake.
Yeah. Wake the fuck up. We're going to war.
I think to recall somewhere seeing it broken down in comparison to some Heavensward lyrics, and this is the similar or same lines but in a slightly different order, or something included or something left out, I forget. So it's not directly ripped. This is intentionally, to my mind at least, intended to refer to the final days.
Yes.
We can't chill out. The star's going down. Wake up. Death's coming. We got to do something.
Yeah. So this is actually very, very parallel to Emmett Selk's line in the beginning of the trailer, the very first trailer, where it sounds like the dialogue from Amarot, but it's not. It's slightly different. So this is the same thing where we saw this before, but some of it is slightly different to fit the final days as opposed to, let's go kill Ishgard. Yeah.
It happens the same with the Stormblood section. It's not the same as the Storm of Blood.
Correct.
The lyrics are they trick you into thinking this is ripped from Stormblood, and it's like psych.
It's funny, all they would have to do to fix the vibe of the translation is put a comma after brothers.
Yeah.
Commas are a very powerful thing.
Indeed. That's why I overuse them.
I overuse them too, honestly.
High five. Demi Bahamut put the Heavensward ones. Our slumber disturbed, all my brothers wake. The saviors must perish, vengeance will be ours. The saviors must perish being omitted does seem very specific, and death comes being basically put in.
I mean, you could understand this either from the ancients getting revenge on Vena, or either the ancients getting revenge on the sound itself, since death comes and that.
This from the gameplay trailer, these lyrics really strike me as that scene when all the masks are popping around on the moon. Presumably on the moon. The previous incantation of the Azem stone appears to be on the moon.
It's interesting because the dragon lyrics, I have a feeling that much of this song is going to be kind of like Tomorrow and Tomorrow, in the sense where it applies to multiple things and all of them are correct. For example, this is probably talking to some extent about Virtra, but also it applies to the ancients.
It is one of their best skill sets, writing vague songs that apply to multiple threads in their story.
Yes.
They do it very well, and I love it.
Because, for example, like with Tomorrow and Tomorrow, there's many people who think that it's like the Exarch's theme, or, the Crystarium's theme.
The Exarch's slouching, though.
Right. Like, you can apply certain parts of it to the Exarch / the Crystarium, But the music video they eventually came out with basically confirms the thoughts that, Meowth and I had of it being more so Emmett Selk's theme. But you can definitely read it both ways.
Yeah, it can be interpreted in multiple ways, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's true that Vitra is a great worm, so he could probably call to arms other dragons, I guess.
For sure.
Could be rallying his kin to fight for Thavnir.
That reminds me that we don't yet know how the fuck Vitra comes into this.
Yep.
Should be interesting to see. I do think that this section though definitely both calls back to Heavensward and looks forward to Vritra coming and being one of our allies, which is exciting.
Storm of blood.
Midnight says Vritra's baby, youngest of the first brood. I can't wait to young worm and grumpy brooding dragoon. I want to see Vritra being like a bouncy, bubbly, like this will be great. We've got this. Like,
oh my god,
let's go, guys!
Adorable.
Yes,
that would be such a big
to
contrast. Big contrast to Estinian right there.
It's the power of friendship.
It's going to be a repeat of Estinian and Northern Kai.
Yeah.
Now I just need a scene where Vritra starry eyes at Estinian the way Raha did.
Oh my god. I feel like the dragon version of Starry Eyes is probably like beating your wings until like air goes flying.
Yeah.
Zombie Zanetta in the chat had a question, and it's one we can all address actually, but it was what was Emmett Selk's defining moment for him and the Warrior of Light? I mean, what made him choose to stand behind us and why? Personally, there's not one defining moment unless you count our victory. Like having the power to win was like, okay, I guess you can handle it. But all throughout Shadowbringers, he's mentioning wanting to find a better way, not that you would remember, like all of these hints. In fact, I'd go so far as to say they're not really hints. Like, they're direct stating he knew our old self.
Yes.
Yeah,
repeatedly.
I don't think there was one moment. It was gradual progression of him coming to terms.
I would also further... Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and finish.
So I would say that, with him, the first time he sees us on the first, and he says, with a soul such as that, perhaps there's another way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was at least when Hope opened the door, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alex the Swan Guy says his defining moment was checking this fine body, ooh woo.
I also think that there was probably the moment when he, in the wings watching, and then we were sent to the ethereal rift by Elidibus. We're gonna die, we're trapped, we break our chains, and we wish. And he's like, okay, I can't say no to that.
I would say it was before that. So the big thing, and this was addressed by the devs as well, was that he was just so disappointed that we couldn't use the light and wield the light the way he wanted, that he kind of wrote us off. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of our battle, we do use it, and we do exactly what he thought we couldn't do. And by that point, it was too late for him. He was like, okay, there's something here, but I can't do anything right now. I'm going to go chill out in the afterlife for a bit.
I'm going to go squish around in my cushy cloud bed for a minute.
Yeah.
And see how it plays out.
He had to go retreat to the OG Bone Throne.
And the OG cheese, Bonnie. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
He sat upon the Garlean throne, yes.
Really quick, something that the Cobron was touching on, I just want to kind of retouch on it as well. Like the sequence when he shoots the Exarch, right? Like, what a disappointment you turned out to be. What person who didn't give a crap to begin with would express that level of vitriol? Like this is a sense of, man, I'm sure I'm pissed I had faith in my friend's, 8th rebirth or whatever. Still fucking sucks.
Absolutely, yeah.
Still fucking sucks. Maybe next
hope
time.
Destroyed.
Yeah, hope destroyed.
And then in the end, hope.
By the skin of our teeth.
The
By
irony
the
of hope
push
in this
of-
case.
By
I'm not
the
going to
forward
make any
push of a
comments.
ghost.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
going
an
to
axe
make
through the gut.
comments. I'm not going to make comments.
What, you don't want to talk or think about hope, Meow? You don't find hope a compelling?
Let no
I
man
hate
say
you.
he did not try. Futile as it was.
I hate you.
Yes, you do.
Listen,
So-
it's lately it's becoming ever so increasingly difficult for me to not rumble about Final Fantasy 13. Don't try me.
You mean especially after I poked you about that dungeon that has Final Fantasy 13 mobs in it in the launch trailer?
Fuck you.
I don't know. I feel like there's some definite parallels to be made between Final Fantasy 13 Hope and Elidibus. There really are, by the way, folks. If you haven't really looked into 13, there is some very interesting stuff going on beneath the surface. That's worth a look. Meow did a playthrough. You can even find it on their Twitch.
That cough of yours is getting worse.
Yeah, I did drag Neela through the entire Lord Life, so that's why he's
was fantastic.
acquainted with it. Do you still remember that line in Japanese, the shepherd to the souls?
Oh, yeah.
One more thing before we move to the next verse, from me at least. Roxas had said, I still don't get the Hades thirst. I just don't see it. I was going to say in chat, but I'll just say it in voice. Some people like the snarky, foppish, emotional sweetie pies with vicious teeth.
I mean, there's a few of them right here, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I was also going to say, I feel like they walked a really excellent line between, yes, your character was definitely friends with him before the Sundering, and, well, you could interpret it as more if you so chose, but it is not pushed on you. So some people immediately jump on that interpretation, or it fits their character, it fits their background, it fits their personality. And some people do not.
It appears that I
which
got
is
through to
absolutely
Roxas.
Yeah, I'm
Where,
just
yeah.
speaking for myself, it's probably very obvious that I tend to be sarcastic, snarky, and I very much so love banter. So I see a character like Emmett Selk, and I'm just like, yes, I want to have a conversation with you. I want to have word battles.
Right.
See, that's me, but with Fandaniel. I will say, though, ironically enough, I'm not romantically interested in Emmett Selk. He's too tsundere. I can't get into that kind of relationship, but he is very visually attractive to me. I look at him, I'm like, oh, hi. So it's just, it can be a type thing, and it's very much a non-standard beauty sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's so unique. He's probably what sets him apart, and actually what catches the eye of many people, because we're so used to some sort of visuals model in video games, especially Japanese video games, and Emmett Silk is kind of like a fuck you to all of that.
For me, it was really a contrast between his like exterior of over dramatic, like I am totally just going to self-insert myself into your party, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ha ha ha! I'm going to monologue at you the whole time, and like pick away at you, and then like learning more about him and where he came from, his motives over time, and that like unfurling of like his more true self really like spoke to me to the point where now I'm just totally sold on his character. And write about him. And now I write for other people about him too, like ship other people's Warriors of Light with him for money. Like apparently I write him very well.
I wasn't
It's
laughing
like-
at you. I was laughing at the unsought audacity.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's great.
Zombies in our YouTube streams at Eden and the Goth Girl were an unsought Dacian. They mean unsundered, but they are actually a sundered Dacian. So.
To be entirely fair, I mean, I with the launch trailer and stuff, I'm personally looking forward to not just we've met Emmett Silk, but we've not really gotten to interact with Hades.
That is very true.
Yeah.
And
Like there's a contrast between the two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Which
Emmett
is
Silk
very
is
important.
Emmett Silk is a mask. It's a title, but Hades is the real, the what lies beneath the mask, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Before getting his new
getting-
job, he was Hades.
Yeah,
It's an important distinction because as we see in in the dying gasp, his mask is white. He's set aside the seat
Seat of
of Emmett Selk,
sacrifice.
and now he's just thank you.
Now I
he's
need
set
to pull up
aside
the
that.
triple triad card real quick because the
Yes.
the
It
description
talks
on
about
that.
that.
And
in
now he's
description.
just Hades.
While we're doing
Right,
that,
yeah.
let's progress the
Yeah,
lyrics
before
a
we
bit.
go back into the lyrics, just because this is pertinent to the conversation, the Hades triple triad card says, "Was Hades always lurking beneath the surface of Emmett Selk, or was this a case of transcendence, an aberrant being spawned from a crucible of ancient hope and prayer? Whichever the truth may be, this implacable immortal would never cease his struggle, never abandon the path which has led to his fallen brethren's resurrection."
Blacktimus Prime says, doesn't Emmett Selk have all those clones of his body? Yes, we don't know that they were destroyed. We do not know.
So they could still be.
They were
So
not.
they are probably still around. We just don't have hard evidence either way.
Yeah, they could still be a factor in Endwalker for any number of things, including Fan Daniel fucking with us
Yeah.
by going into one.
You said the two Fs.
Zombie Zanetta says, have they established if Gaia can move through the void to the source? Not as of yet, but being as she is an Ascian soul, she would be capable of it.
Also, the
They
Voidwalker
hinted that
fight.
it must be possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have made it. Yeah, you can't know how to yet, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, she at the end of Eden, she was saying like she needs to learn more about her Ascian powers, but that like she could potentially do shit with them.
She would be a sundered, untempered Ascian, which is kind of interesting.
Indeed, it's a very interesting place to be.
So, Storm of Blood, Born of Blood, of our fallen brothers. Thunder stilled. Oaths fulfilled.
This part's so
Yep.
real.
Now we yearn for
So-
freedom. I wanted to add one
Thunder?
thing. Thunderer is the name of the Ascian battle track.
Yes.
I was gonna say thunder could refer to Zodiark / the Ascians, or it could be like the sound itself being silent, stilled, quieted.
See, that's
Don't
what I
know.
think. With the Unsundered Dead, the driving force behind the rejoinings has been stilled. So they don't have that anymore. They're just kind of, the Sundered Ascians are just kind of left to their own devices now. And I think that's what they mean by thunder stilled. So, the thunder's been stilled. The Sundered, as far as they care, their oaths have been fulfilled. The Unsundered are gone.
Well, and if the sundered or if the unsundered are indeed untempered, as I suspect, they're gonna look at that and be like, "Yeah, we've long since fulfilled our obligation. We are done."
Yes, exactly.
And I will say that now we yearn for freedom. I think Sledge Prince was kind of getting at this, but screams Fan Daniel to me.
Yeah,
I agree.
for sure.
He's all like, "I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing."
Like,
And
can I
he's
just
making
live my
others
life?
feel the
How
same.
many millennia do I have to do this stupid shit?
It makes me
Hooray,
wonder.
for La Habrea.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what the other Sundered Ascians that are still out there, what they could be doing.
For sure.
It would also be really interesting if Now We Yearn for Freedom also ends up being our line.
Yeah.
in a
Oh, right.
way,
I wanted
too.
to bring that up too.
Yeah. Could apply to
From the
so
we don't know we don't know if we're tempered or not. There's some possibility, but that would only really apply to the warrior life, in my opinion, warrior of light, if we were indeed tempered.
Mm-hmm.
And Zodiac too, and the ancients trapped, perhaps inside the moon too, or it could apply to many things.
Yeah. And also, the one thing that always throws me about this Warrior of Light being tempered thing, I don't know if I mentioned this one before, but basically, this isn't the first time we've been reborn, right? Probably. So is she just, like, tempering us every time she sees a baby wall? Or
every time the calamity's approaching at the minimum.
yeah, let me grab it. Let me grab him. Need him again.
There's also my my pet tinfoil theory.
Come here, boy.
Oh.
Or
I
whichever.
have something I was going to bring up, but please go ahead.
I
also
think it's
tinfoil.
entirely possible that Heidelin is just creating or reconstituting us every time she's in need of a champion, and that we're not being born by traditional means.
Or just in her pocket. Like, here you go.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have a theory, and this is definitely tinfoil, but what if the Echo can only be awoken once per soul, and she's been keeping us in her pocket this whole time, and this is our first time really going back? I know it's kind of indicated not, but it's not
That was
guaranteed.
my own. Yeah, that was my theory as well.
Oh, high
even though
five.
it is kind of even though it's kind of like a bit disputed
It's not strictly
in the text.
contradicted. It's just
It's not strictly contradicted, yeah.
It's somewhat contrary, right? But it's not
But it is
contradicted.
contrary, yeah. And
So-
I
That's a
kind
good
of
way to
felt
put it.
like the power of the Echo, such as it is, like she was really just saving us as her ace in the hole for a long time on cold storage until she was like, I have to do something about this or I'm going to lose.
So I have a third theory, which is that I believe that our Warrior of Light is actually the first reconstitution of Azim on the source. And it goes back to that beginning cutscene where everyone's waiting for Azem to appear, and as soon as Heidelin and Zodiac, or Heidelin and the Asians rather, find you at the same time, and La Habrea is like, I gotta get them, gotta get them, and Heidelin beats them to it, and that's where the game starts.
That intro cutscene, if y'all haven't seen that recently, give it another look, because it's very, you're just there, you're hearing a voice, you're seeing a sun. We're not seeing Heidelin, not the crystal at least at that point, but the sun thing, which is very suspicious in light of 5.3, the orange one. And then La Habrea shows up and it's like, nope, just kidding, time to eat an Asian. And then you wake up.
It's also possibly just future telling. It's almost one for one this scene at the end of Praetorium.
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah, almost.
Quite possible, yeah.
But I like to think that it was basically both sides waiting for Azem to appear.
I really love that. I really do.
And they were trying to claim them.
I'll think on it.
First.
Right. Because basically both sides knew whoever got Azem was going to win.
I think there's an irony there too, because both Dark and Light see this as a conflict, but I have a feeling that Fate and Azem and the whole thing we're going to be leading toward is actually, how about neither of you / both of you?
I agree.
I mean the sun is the source of both light and shadow.
Indeed.
And it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if anyone's ever watched Babylon 5, but the end of the climax of Babylon 5 between Light and Dark, when everyone's just kind of like, we don't need either of you anymore. You can both just get the fuck out.
Nice.
As usual, I'm tearing apart things that don't matter, but the notion of the sun being the source of both light and shadow, I've always contested logic like that, because really the default is shadow, and you just can't distinguish because there's no light. But the darkness is the shadow, and the lack of light is the shadow.
This is something that was actually, if you've ever read The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin, which I highly recommend, amazing author, amazing book. One thing she has is a pantheon, of 3 head deities, light, darkness, and then twilight and dawn. And the darkness one was born first, and she explains this because if you take away light, you get darkness. But what happens when you take away the darkness? You get more darkness. The darkness is always there. Darkness predates light, which is why I think they summoned Zodiac first. Or why you ended up with Zodiac first.
So, darkness predates light is actually engraved in the Cathedral of Palermo.
That's cool.
One thing I also want to point out, just going back to that thermodynamics video I meant, that the sun...
It's a really good video.
Thank you.
Please go watch our thermodynamics video on our YouTube channel. It's incredible.
The sun in 14 does not equate to light or dark. It equates to life. Light and darkness are more akin to hot and cold on a molecular level. But the sun is more indicative of life, because the sun is not light aether in 14. It's fire aether. So it's not really either one of light and dark. So it's kind of a misnomer, because we kind of tend to ascribe light to the sun in our lives, but it's not really like that in 14.
Yeah, the cosmology is different and kind of weird, but interesting.
We also have the Emmett Selk tells us that like primordial shadow was kind of, I don't know. There's some contesting this now, actually, because of the floating continent and the state of the world. We really don't know all the facts, and some of our initial intuitions about how the ancient world may actually be wrong, right? From like 5.0 until now. But he speaks about returning things to darkness, like returning.
I'm a bit of a astronomy nerd, and one thing I've wondered is if it's possible the ancient world before the Sundering was tidally locked. I did some digging into physics, and if the mass of a planet can affect its rotational speed, but it's not usually major, so it probably wouldn't have changed it, but it's still a cool thought. Tidally locked being one side would always be to the light, one side would always be to the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Which would mean that Amrot would have to live in the area between and the Twilight.
Yes.
I mean, there are planets that are like that.
Yeah, there
It's
are.
actually fairly common. They tend that's a thing that tends to happen as the orbit ages and as it is out for a while.
There's one.
The spinning starts to stop.
There's one. If I may share this one, if you play Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, the planet Brio is one of these planets that actually wasn't wasn't like that before. But a war between its inhabitants, a civil war with massive mechas and magic and well, shit, fucked up the planet so much that it disrupted the orbit and it was locked in, forever in one side ever facing the sun, the other side ever face with cold.
Yeah, the same thing happened in Nier.
Mm.
They never explain why, but I assume it's because they didn't want to animate day-night cycles.
Oh, you want to know why it's so cold?
Yes.
We can tell you why.
Tell us why.
Do you want to go, Meowth, or do you want me to?
Ayumi hasn't had to speak for a while.
End of Drakengard. So the end of Drakengard, the queen kind of disintegrates, and if you inhale the particles, we're gonna actually point this out too. In the Nier raid in Final Fantasy, this actually happens also. There's these particles called white meso, and if you inhale them, something happens to you. If you have to form a pact with a dark god, or you turn into a pillar of salt. That dark god will turn you into a white creature. Not akin to a sin eater, by the way, but they're called the Legion.
Choose wisely. The answer is death.
So, at the end of Drakengard, once you defeat the giant queen, she disintegrates into a giant cloud of white meso. Unfortunately, this is over Tokyo. So, the majority of the people who inhaled the white meso obviously did not want to see the white queen, the queen again. So they all turned into salt. So with that much salt, it blotted out the atmosphere, turning it into an endless winter.
So what you're saying is you can either become a white mage or a sin eater.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I agree with Sludge. That sounds like that made people pretty salty.
Hey, that's a good one. Thank you.
Which is why when I went into the first Nier raid and I got to the last area and it was snowing, I'm like, that's not fucking snow. And then he mentioned that it was mineral. It tasted like mineral salt or whatever. I'm like, no, I need to go back.
Yeah, don't eat that. Don't eat that.
Don't breathe. Don't breathe that into them. Don't breathe that into them.
The difference in 14 is 14 has magic in that world as part of its makeup, so it's not as detrimental, I guess.
So
yeah, it's very close to how Sin Eaters were made. You inhaled the salt, you were basically turned into one of the Legion, or you became a pillar of salt. With that much salt just kind of floating around, just the beginning of Nier Replicant. It just became the beginning of Nier Replicant. The two mother and not the mother, but the father and daughter, or the brother and sister, just out in the cold.
But why was the planet tidally locked?
Because reasons.
Yeah, because they don't want to animate a day-night cycle.
There is. You want to ask a Yoko Taro thing, so that's a bad
honestly, though, the days used to be shorter on our planet, like back in like Jurassic times or whatever. The days are very, very, very slowly lengthening, and someday we too will be tidally locked.
Yeah,
it's like an old tired planet thing.
Yeah, each day I believe is 23 hours and like 90 or not 90, like 59.2 seconds or something like that.
Now that's giving me the and more Line Returns vibes with the lost time. Thank you.
Well, I suppose we should get back to lyrics.
Yes, Born in Blood.
Yeah, I wanted to break these up into white and yellow, if you don't mind.
One by one, because I think these each represent a different character.
Sure. Born in blood, stained in red. Still we forge ahead unto tomorrow.
Yeah.
Stained in red thing is very interesting. I wonder if that's intended to refer to the convocation masks, among other things.
Could be.
In
I mean, who could Born in Blood be? Who could be Bound by Love? Purpose Fed reminds me of Fandaniel.
I feel like Bound by Love is either the Warrior Light, the Scions, everyone who cares about others, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Really,
Xenos would be Born in Blood. Yeah.
Especially if, you know, Emmett Selk found a way.
Yes. So Xenos and Fandaniel.
Purpose Fed is so interesting. I feel like that's got to be like someone had something they needed to accomplish and then they've succeeded in that. And I'm like, not sure who that would be.
I feel like this verse is basically the plot of Endwalker.
Oh yes, absolutely. I almost want to say Purpose Fed might be Hades because he found a Zem, he got himself untempered, and somehow or another he's coming back.
I mean that line would apply bound by love, considering what his constellation means. That too. I mean,
and the
Gemini.
twins are the lovers.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that can just be love for a friend, depending how you interpret the character.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Really does fit because I do feel like the reason he helped us in Seed of Sacrifice instead of, say, Elidibus is because of the bond of friendship that he held on to even through all of his tempering.
We were his beloved.
His bestest, dearest friend.
To me, all the white lyrics, line by line, they're not really separable to me. Like Born in Blood, Stained in Red, right? Bound by Love, Purpose Fed, Courage Thrives Hand in Hand. That one strikes me as the Warrior of Light, the third one. And then Souls of Aligned, Forge Ahead is the end plot. That's my thought.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Considering this is to a colon response segment, which is later in the end repeated the structure, different, not following Stormblood's lyrics, but it's still a colon response format. Yeah, I mean it could be the Souls Align and stuff. I just keep thinking of Hades.
I mean,
we need him to come back so that we have a second brain cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah, pretty much.
Midnight Kolrath says Suzaku voice, but as Emmett Selk.
Oh,
Azem, my beloved.
Oh God.
Please sheathe your sword in me, I beg.
Sheathe your sword.
That's the joke I make every time I do the fight.
That's great.
If it has to be thus, I'm glad it was you.
Right?
So how do we sheathe your sword in me?
Oh God.
Yep, that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like there might have been a little bit at the end there of if it has to be thus, I'm glad it was you from him.
So how about the yellow lines? Still we forge ahead unto tomorrow, as we forge ahead unto tomorrow.
Tomorrow and tomorrow.
Ever forge ahead unto tomorrow. Welcome tomorrow. Are these distinct?
I'm just thinking of tomorrow and tomorrow.
So I want to say that they are distinct, but I also want to say that they apply to each party. Each party is trying to forge ahead in their own way.
They're forging a different tomorrow, right? Each one of them. So I guess the third line would be welcome what is to come. Just we're moving on.
Yeah.
And the second line, as it comes. And the second one is, I really want this to end. Can it be tomorrow now? Thanks.
Right.
And then the first one.
Don't, or even possibly a bit of don't let everything end. Don't let the world be destroyed.
Oh, sure.
Tomorrow.
Bring us tomorrow. That would track well with the, at least the English localization of the launch trailer. Fandaniel's dialogue.
Remember what, To the Edge, the line "Tomorrow's come too soon."
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they wanted yesterday, you know.
Right, but here we're, unto tomorrow, unto tomorrow, unto tomorrow. Welcome tomorrow, bring us tomorrow. Let's see the sunrise one more time.
Right.
Whereas in Amarot, they wanted more time. Here, we also want more time, but for a different reason.
It reminds me of one of the lines in Line Returns. Again, that is like how the people of the Dead Dunes have come to fear tomorrow, as the chaos is ever drowning their land with each day that it passes, and Hope and Lightning comment on how the twisted end of the world state has turned what they call a time of hope, which is the dawn, into something to fear.
I guess it's Hope o'clock.
Listen.
There's a lot of hope to talk about here, yes.
Yeah, Azem is the hopium dealer.
Ha, hopium?
Better than
Oh
copium.
my lord.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
And after this, we see a complete change in the song.
I was calling it a jubilation, and I think that's pretty accurate.
And but it's more hope.
That's what I was getting at, yes.
Are
you ready for the Song of Hope?
For a moment. More wings.
It rises on the wind.
I'm very curious about the personification of this Song of Hope. Wondering if it's a literal thing, if it's what exactly it's supposed to refer to, what the person is here. This one seems to me more like a past version, and then the second part, Wings of Hope, being the present. So I could see this being aimed at our, say, Lady of the Light, maintaining some vow to, when the time is right, make it so that the world can be saved, but I don't know. That's just kind of a guess based on what they're saying. The future is in your hands. The second part, I think, has to be referring to the journey the Warrior Light is going to take throughout Endwalker.
Using song and chorus, precisely those words that always there are words related to sound and the echo and stuff, make me remember the echo of a symphony. Makes me remind me of the ancients again.
Thank you. I was going to mention that basically that this is again another sound related word: echo, symphony, resonance. So this is yet another sound related word that even the dragons use. They use the dragon song, but this is very much ancient ways that unsundered beings communicate is through sound.
This is
it's interesting as well. Go ahead.
Oh no, your turn. I'm next though.
Okay. It's interesting as well, the Song of Hope, because the sound is described as a cacophony. In other words, sounds, but they don't sound good together. They're not intentional. It's just randomness. Versus Elidibus speaking of their echo as being like a symphony, which is obviously all very much in, no pun intended, but also pun intended, concert with one another, intentional songs, and a song would fall under that, where it's sound, but working together in a positive way, constructive, whereas a cacophony is destructive sound.
You got it handled.
Okay, high five.
High five.
That's where you were going to.
This game almost. This game is full of it's full of sound, right? But there is a distinction between a keening and music. Okay, so they're using
keening can be for mourning too.
Sure. Go, Bonnie, go.
Okay, so I had a couple thoughts on Charlian quote-unquote section here. One, I find it interesting that the pronouns aren't capitalized here. It's not like she and her as in Heidelin here at all.
Indeed.
But two, and this is tinfoil again because that's just where my brain is, I'm sorry, but I was saying the other day, normally we hear chorus in reference to the dragons, but I'm starting to wonder if chorus is going to end up being what the full echo is called.
Oh, that's curious. Cool. I like that.
there's this notion in Western thought, right, going back to pre-Christian stuff, but certainly Christian stuff, of the logos, like the word that creates the world. This is a sound thing. It's like an aspect of consciousness, right? Like the ability to produce change is somehow linked mythically to sound and word.
I remember similar stuff in Tolkien works in the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, wife was just
very
rereading
keen
that
with
first
in high
chapter.
school.
Like the Song of the Ainur.
Yeah, the Song of the Ainur and the Ainu Lindali chapter, the very first chapter is the 15-page creation story. Go read it. No, just please go read it, chat. If you haven't read the Silmarillion, please.
Such a
I beg of you.
The best of Tolkien's books.
After the show.
I'm going to bring up a different source for this thing. I don't know if you played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, but first, as a summary, there's the negativity of the hearts of all Pokemon manifests in an icy piece of thing that is called the Bitter Cold, and that's going to cause the end of the world and freeze the entire world. But the voice of life is a physical manifestation of all, the world's life, entire hope, in which manifests as Hydreigon. But yeah, it's actually one of the characters in that game, and it's basically a physical manifestation of hope for all living beings that made manifest that. So yeah, and I actually recommend playing a lot of Pokemon.
I'd also like to add something here. I just recalled that, and I don't remember the exact source in this. I don't remember where I read it. I read a lot of trivia, and then I don't always remember where from. But I remember reading something interesting about language and speech, and how I think it's anthropologists believe that we actually sung before we spoke, and that's where our language developed, was from singing and the tone and eventually developing into language. You see it with kids. If you ever have a baby or around a baby, they'll sing and coo before they actually try and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of fits with how the ancients are. They speak in something very like song, so it's just neat to me.
It is super neat. There's also the I think it's the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which I don't know if they've ended up debunking it or not, but it's just the notion that language shapes culture. Like we have 50 words for ice in certain cultures, and then like one word for
it makes sense.
It's just what's important in your culture. You can tell.
Actually, that reminds me of something I read about a particular culture that doesn't have a separate word for orange and pink. And if you show them something that's orange, and then later on be like, so, which of these two was it? They'd have a little more trouble remembering if it was the orange one or the pink one. Just because of how our brains store information. At any rate, the cradled fast within your arms line here, I didn't catch that at all, but it's very interesting. And I wonder if it's supposed to be I can't help but take it very literally, and I wonder if that's intentional or not.
This is a tough one, right? Like there's 3 takes I got just offhand. I'm sure you all have the same thoughts, but like cradled fast within your arms, right? Carrying our song. I mean, if this whole section weren't so Heidelin, I would say that Zodiark summoning is exactly this.
I mean, I feel like it could almost be what we're going to be doing, mimicking what they did back then, because I keep nattering on about this, but they said the creation of Zodiark had to be taken place before the corruption of the sound got to Amrot. Well,
and we
saw Amrot Dungeon. We know that didn't happen, and then we go up in the sky, and they say, but between us and our goal loomed one final misbegotten fiend, implying
corruption's
very,
already here.
Very strongly they made Zodiark up in the sky. So I feel like it really could be us doing that, but also an echo of what they did. Fun, not intended, but always intended. And the cradled fast within your arms just makes me look at that bloom and be like, tell me more about that.
So tinfoil, because that's just where my brain is today. cradled fast within your arms is now making me think of the Amano art for Shadowbringers. Where we're carrying the quote-unquote child of light that everyone thought was Minfilia, and then decided wasn't Minfilia, and then thought was Elidibuddy, and then we still don't know for certain what we were carrying.
See, it's also making me think a little bit of the true ending of Undertale, where you just get all the souls together and create a new world. Not exactly what happened there, but the souls together thing.
Was that Final Fantasy 13 I heard, Meowth? Thought I heard that. I heard whispers in the form of a cough.
It sounds sort of familiar for some reason. I just can't place why we would get all the souls together and carry them to a new world where they can be. We can make a new world. That's so crazy.
A whole new world.
This is for Final Fantasy 14. I'm not opening my mouth.
Oh, please. But the other game.
Do it.
I mean, I got her on a tangent the other day about Lightning Returns because of what I realized with the freaking dungeon in the launch trailer.
I was gonna say, seriously, Meowth, we talk about every single other Final Fantasy and how its themes come forward. We're not gonna just leave one of them out.
Yep.
You don't want me to start talking about Final Fantasy 13. This stream would last at least 6 hours.
Well, then I will just say that the thing I was quoting a minute ago, you should check out Meowth's Final Fantasy 13 playthrough if you're not familiar.
Yeah.
That its
because
chorus
all of
might
it's
ring
highlighted,
for all.
right?
Should be.
So yeah, y'all can just check out Meowth's playthrough of 13 at that link.
But not right now, after the stream.
Yeah.
The Shadowbringers section of the song being so short was actually kind of surprising to me.
Tumbling down to the never. It's like the never were again, except without the were.
Yeah, that's such odd phrasing.
It bothers me. It's that moment where I'm just like, the nether would make sense. I mean, come on.
Tell me more. Okay, so
Tumbling
if
down to the
Balls ends
never.
up being called the Never, I will never stop screaming.
Yeah, it's gonna be perfect.
Same. We can scream together and create another Final Days. It'll be fun.
Yeah. God, I love Keening cacophonies.
I do take this as a sort of confirmation that the one brings shadow, one brings light thing isn't fully resolved and that we are going to have some nice shadow and light. I mean, I feel like that's pretty obviously indicated, but still. Just reinforcing it one last time.
It'd be really interesting if that's confirmation that one brings shadow, one brings light is referring to Wool and Hades. And then two toned echoes tumbling through time, tumbling down to the never is referencing our journey into the underworld. Tumbling down into the underworld.
I firmly believe the Hades narration near the beginning in all languages where you go to find the truth. I'm sure we're just going to see him.
Yeah,
it really sounds like it.
I mean, and beyond that, I'm almost expecting that we're going to get a free hall pass from him to go visit the underworld whenever we want. And it'll be basically like Persephone, where we spend time in the above world and the below world whenever we want.
Okay, that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
What is this? What is this? A Final
I'll
Fantasy
bring Hades
Eurail
some
pass?
macarons.
Hell yeah!
What were you saying? Someone was talking at a bunny. I couldn't hear it.
Oh,
Was it Yumi?
it was me. Monty said, "Bring macarons," and I said, "What is this? A Final Fantasy Eurail pass?"
I mean, I wouldn't mind. If the Shoebill can live rent free in the Crystarium, I want to live free down in the Hades room in the underworld.
I saw some really great fan art of Emmett Selk in an apartment in Amarat City under the water the other day.
Should bring him some pomegranates for irony.
I do think every step we take, obviously that's just sort of a moving forward thing, but the echoes in our wake, You can read this two ways. Every step we take echoes in our wake. People hear it, they follow. But I think it could also be just echoes in our wake. Like we have echoes trailing in our wake. Echoes, the stars.
Mm.
And also the reference to Nemea, the weaver, the spinner of fate, winding round our fate. Incidentally, people who don't speak German may not have noticed this, but Alize actually invokes Nemea's name in the launch trailer in German.
Mm.
By Nemea, the final days are truly here.
Mr. Toast says, while going to the underworld, don't you mean the Shadowlands? No. No.
Gosh.
This is not an extra dimensional place. This is part of our world, somewhere hidden away.
That's been referenced for forever.
It's okay. I'm not actually flaming you. I was just reacting strongly.
Funny. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
So every step we take just reminds me of Sting.
Yeah, it's Sting. This is Sting's coming into the game.
Hold on, I just had a very cursed thought.
Oh no.
Share it.
Take echoes in our way.
Hades is the stalker.
Round our fate. Okay, I lost it there, but
almost.
It's pretty cursed.
That was good though.
Oh, it makes me happy. Thank you.
And Midnight Clorat says, should we lose our way section kind of parallels to Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and should our souls scatter unto the wind, still we shall live on. That's good.
So there was a line in the launch trailer that as soon as they released this, I zoomed in on it. But I zoomed in on it. But basically it's someone, I don't know whose voice it was, but saying that, oh God, I don't remember the exact line. It was before the first transition to the second music, but basically saying you've gone through so much pain, don't you think it's enough, or you should just let me
don't trust the creepy child.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of this, where like there's going to be someone tempting us to give up, basically.
Let me relieve you of your burden. You have suffered enough.
That's it.
Creepy child voice.
Yeah.
I just think it sounds like a young woman. I don't know if it's a child, but
My brain has decided it's a Furby for some reason.
It's probably because it was a gremlin in Shadowbringers.
Oh, I was just about to say. A tribble.
What it says in the other languages is still really interesting. The whole something about ending all sorrow. Isn't that all we can hope for? Something of the like.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just going off the English translation.
And of course, an end to sorrow means an end to everything good too.
It does.
It has to be. It's kind of the story, and you see it in media again and again. It's really good. You have to bear the sorrow to share the joy.
I'm not going to comment anything.
A shame. It's only a shame, Meowth.
To bear with me.
You should just do a video on it.
Meowth, just do it.
But also video, yeah.
Yes.
You could do a whole video on the Final
She
Fantasy
could do
13
10
stuff
videos.
in what we know already. Seriously, just in
Yeah,
stuff.
you should do it, and you should get it out within the next 2 weeks.
Just turn on the mic and start talking.
The floor is yours.
You don't want that.
No, we do. We do.
Maybe this will help. I will say that they're probably half of the Final Fantasy games, the single-player games, have a final mystery villain who wants to bring everything to perfect nothing. So a world without joy a world without sorrow is no world at all. It's gone. That's how I link the two.
They either want to bring everything to nothing, or they want to see everything destroyed.
Right.
Reset to zero, or destroy everything.
Right.
And since this is, among other things, the Final Fantasy IX expansion, it's pretty fitting.
You're wrong. It's the Final Fantasy 13 expansion.
That's why I said among other things.
No, it's the Final Fantasy 4 expansion.
No, it's the Final Fantasy 11 expansion.
No, it's the Final Fantasy 12 expansion.
I mean, in Final Fantasy 13 will be probably the only one of the few Final Fantasy titles in which the final boss is actually not ill will. It's just he's just fucked up because reasons, but and very misguided. But yeah, that I can tell. So yeah, one of the few titles in which we don't have an omnicidal maniac as a final boss.
Lose Our Way is an interesting line.
Yes. And I don't think that refers to anyone specifically.
Referentially, you were talking about the 3 different people hypothesis. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, I don't mean it quite literally, because I think there's a lot more broader interpretation to this, but I have, way back before they confirmed the lyrics, actually, I said, should we lose our way is La Habrea, tire of all this pain is Emmett Selk, we won't be afraid is Elidibus, and to forge ahead is Azim. But obviously it's much deeper than that, but it's certainly one way to read it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's bugging me because I'm pretty sure there's something from the Shadowbringers MSQ that would tie into it, but I can't remember which scene it is in, so I haven't been able to find the exact quote, but something Emmett Selk says, and that particular part of the song is making my brain itch.
The tire of all this pain is also making me think of the "you have suffered enough" line, and what it says in the other translations, like you could just end everything and then no one would hurt ever again. And then they'll be like, no, we want to actually keep going, it's fine.
One who can endure the necessary pain.
A resilient soul. Oh yeah, that's right.
Capable of
you might have
bearing
touched
the
it there.
necessary pain.
I was racking my brain on the matter as I eat a snack, and I was like, that sounds like the most likely culprit.
Midnight Kolrath says weary wanderer, and yes, a wanderer could lose their way, and tire of all this pain could be the weary portion.
Yes,
of that. That's good. Very good catch.
In fact, the gremlin adds another line that Emmett Selk never speaks. That is how it comes. The end, your end.
Still waiting for that one.
Yep.
He spoke every other gremlin line from the trailer.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced we'll get it, just because they did confirm that was the English localization, or like the localization in general, paying homage to the trailer in a way that hadn't been done before. And then Yoshida approved it because it was like, oh, I like that.
Because it's good. Hey, if people didn't know, the launch trailer has a line in English that doesn't exist in any of the other translations. And that's that final line from Hades right at the end of it. So obviously a similar thing is kind of going on there.
Yeah, there's also parts of that launch trailer that aren't actually in the game.
Oh, yeah.
And so the launch trailers, we have to remember, are specifically built to misrepresent and lie.
To build hype without giving anything away.
And I can imagine Yoshi P having a complete nightmare trying to piece what the fuck to show and not show.
Yeah, and I remember at this time there were so many spoilers for Shadowbringers that had come out because there were all those leaks. And for Endwalker, there's like nothing. It's really cool.
Which is great.
Nothing at all.
I will say I avoid the data miners like the plague. It's not anything personal. I just don't want my game to be spoiled, so I really try to avoid them. But I'm sure there are data mines for this expansion.
Honestly, I've seen data mine channels being shut down because there's just nothing.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's good.
Nobody wants the ending spoiled.
We really don't.
One of the
it's too good. We don't want that destroyed.
Yeah, one of the servers I'm on, they just shut down the channel because they're like, there's nothing going on, and you people are just talking about stupid crap.
Yeah,
and we're tired of having to moderate it. So yeet.
Yeah, cease and desist. The end. Yeah, I just don't want my secrets spoiled. I want to experience it. That's all.
Yeah, the thing is, when you craft a narrative, when you're the writer or the producer, that sort of thing, you can go through and say, okay, revealing these things will not really decrease the experience of the player, but revealing these things would decrease the experience. So we show these things and we hide these things.
Which is why we didn't get a lore tour in Stormblood. Or sorry, not a lore tour, a zone tour.
Yeah. Which is fine. I'm glad they tailor it that way. Even if I want to know now.
Yeah, I will say some of the data mine stuff that I've seen pop up is interesting, but some of it is also done in such a way where it's hard to tell if it's a legitimate data mine or if it's someone being a troll, which is very interesting to see.
That's some dark stuff. To have a data mine be a fake out. Oh boy, that's dirty.
Not very Azem of them.
It's not very Azem of them.
Honestly, we have to remember that everything is in flux until release.
Yeah, that
I was gonna say things could change too.
So there have been things that have been in data mines that have never shown up in game. So they're not super reliable.
Yeah.
It's just funny when you see a data mine and everyone's freaking out about it, and then you're looking at it and you're like, that looks like it was done in paint. That doesn't look legit.
Yep.
And then you recall the XR's crystal pixel skin.
That was a sweet tattoo, Exarch. Where'd you get that at? You're a fan of 8-bit games?
I mean, we poke fun at that we appreciate, of course, the effort in general.
Yeah, that was the COVID patch. I forgive them 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, you can always say that he accidentally took a detour to Minecraft before he managed to find the right seed.
Yeah, such pixelation was not their intention.
So this next section is really, really critical, actually, after Forge Ahead. Especially the yellow bits, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Fearless Hearts Ablaze kind of calls back to the very start of the song, the Heart of Ember, burning bright, hot and white.
Mm-hmm.
No more time to waste sounds like something very pivotal.
World's ending.
World's ending, fix it.
No pressure.
No, it's not too late to forge ahead.
So
they've probably gotten back to their. Go ahead.
This is another meta thing. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like the Ascians, especially Well-Tempered, thought it was too late to forge ahead. We can't live in this world. It's too broken. Well, now I'm hoping the Untempered can see that it is not too late to forge ahead.
I think that these lines have something, like not in yellow, have a bit of a meta context, addressing all the people who say it's too late to jump into this game.
Nice.
I love it.
There's no more time to waste. It's not too late.
And look at all the people. Look at all the people starting right now. Like it's never too late.
You're gonna get into this game. You're not gonna be alone. It's full of people.
I love that take.
This is probably one of the better times to get into it because of all the new people. You can meet new people alongside you and journey with them.
I was gonna say Kolrath. Yeah, that's what I took away from it too. The "you're not alone" from Final Fantasy IX.
Same.
Yeah, but I actually like this metatextual.
Yeah, we do have the power to summon the stars to our side, as we learned in 5.3. The Convocation members were represented by the stars.
That's right. We have the power of Duty Finder.
That's right.
Damn straight.
Speaking of the metatextual that Koberon posed, I actually think that's a really good point, that this might even be the best time. If you've never touched Final Fantasy XIV, you know how the streamers kind of have this benefit of having like 10 years of content to go through, and it's all A to A+ material? It's kind of the same. Like, this is the culmination of the story arc, and it's all really good. It's a huge payoff, and cats like the game also, so
it's true. They like the game. That's why we have both Mikote and Hrothgar.
Get your friends to play Final Fantasy XIV. We need them. It's a beautiful, wonderful game, but also different communities will make the game better. So bring them on in, please.
It's a game that everyone can learn something from. And I don't mean in the sit down, it's time for your lecture, but you discover something, maybe is a better way to put it.
Or in the case of
Wait,
people
we don't
like
know any
me,
games that do lecturing, do we?
or in the case of people like me, you grow older with it, you grow wiser, you learn that you're a girl, etc.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, high five, but guy.
Exactly. Being able to, like, embody something about yourself while in the company of other people who can appreciate that. It's something that's special and something I'll always appreciate about this world that I've been able to now play for like almost 8 years. I really hope other people can have that experience too. And I know I'm not the only one.
Which is why I'm so excited for the lore and the story coming up. Because
Yep.
Let's see, where are we here?
We're the
down low.
yellows. Yeah. So we just discussed the white text in this verse. Next we have what I take to be a really heartfelt I got you, bud. When the world comes crumbling down, know I'll be there. Though our fleeting moment has gone, you're not alone.
Oh my god. So
Talk about lyrics.
You said I'll be there, and I had like an ad for Friends on HBO.
Well, now we need a really tacky
now we need the Asians and Friends.
Yeah, Friends. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yes.
90s rom-coms.
Oh my god. Yeah, so Asians but in the Friends text.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'd watch the whole show. The apparently the you're not alone, yeah, is extra interesting in Japanese because they use the omae, which is apparently how Emmett Silk
Omae
Emmett Silk often refers to the Warrior of Light, a more derogatory / buddy way or something. Oh my god, Pun Crime says no one told you life was gonna be this way, stars fall from the sky. That's good.
At least he didn't refer to us as his bestie.
I put the tweet regarding
Got
Omae
it.
Thing.
in chat for you.
Pulling it up, Bonnie.
Oh yeah, if you want to show it.
Yeah, reference are always awesome. Let me just pull it up.
One of the benefits of me freaking out and sending that to like 8 different people is the fact that I'm like, oh hey, I know how to find this really easily.
So, hello, the lyrics say omae in the no I'll be there part. I will be by your side. Ha 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 ha.
I mean, that's about how I reacted when I saw it.
All right. Anyway, you guys can read what's on the screen, but now that I'm taking another good look at the JP lyrics, it's totally Emmett's figure of speech / mannerisms / nuance.
Yep.
I love your emotion. It's smart.
Yeah, when I saw that, like, what was it, yesterday morning or something? I was legit screaming. I was like, that's definitely him.
I don't trust my limiter that much.
Isn't
Sorry.
Exactly aware. Omae is kind of a quote unquote rude way to say you or your.
It's
in
rude if you're not
Japanese.
besties.
Very informal.
Yeah, it's very
it's
informal, but
it's
using it with someone that you know is like kind of an endearing quirk.
It's like anata with your husband or wife. Like it's you. You would never say that to a stranger. But
yeah. He's probably thinking of his end as like the troublemaker
Happens the
friend he
same-
can't help with, like, caring for.
Happens the same, if I recall correctly, correct me, Ayumi, probably because he's the one who knows Japanese, with Aitsu Anta, which is really rude if you're not acquainted with someone, but if you're close to, it's a high degree of informality. I know Aitsu Anta because of Final Fantasy 13.
There's a lot of
Pokemon
like, and it also depends on like the environment that you're into. Like if you're like amongst friends and such, it isn't like considered like rude per se, or like among family, because they would take it as like half joking. But if you're in a public environment, let's say like a train, or let's say like a cafe or whatever,
or like the lyrics of a major expansion song.
Yeah, then people would kind of look at you like, okay, do you like know this person, or are you trying to be rude?
Right. It's like you have to attend to the formalities if you're in any sense in public, because society has an expectation, and so you want to do that stuff when you're in like close quarters with your buds, which is what I'm imagining here. I'm like imagining Hades just in the live stream, like whispering stuff.
Oh, fine, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Very much so. was exciting to find this because I already had the feeling that it was like, this is the Asians, and most specifically him speaking to us. The no longer Asians, they got their shadows back.
I really
That's
hope
right. I
in the
hope so.
Japanese version of Endwalker at some point he's just like Iada. Just make that a sound.
Takahashi is just gonna act his heart out.
Oh, I love it.
Takahashi and Reneshager both.
Okay,
Yeah,
now that's a
very
rap
close.
battle we actually need. We were talking
Oh
about,
my
you know,
God.
Renee Zagger versus Exarch rap
Oh,
battle
no.
earlier. We just need to get all of the Emmett Selk VAs in a room
Oh
together.
my god.
Which one's the real one? Kind of.
Yeah. Between Iada and Mon Cher Monster, it's like I'm pretty sure
They're-
the fan base would just die.
They're all four of them are really good, but my personal favorites are Zagger and Takahashi. They bring something really, really different, but really core to the character each time.
Did you want to talk about You're Not Alone, Bonnie?
I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for that.
So this is the last section. I don't want to rush to it. But we're here. And we've got more of this yellow text, right? This is the same speaker. Again.
I mean, regarding You're Not Alone, Neela, I think you're better to touch on that than me since I haven't played 9.
Unfortunately, I haven't played that far into it either myself. I had to school myself, but
We did touch on it last week a bit.
that's true. We touched on it in the context of
Val, you've played 9,
Warrior
right?
of Light sitting on the
Yeah,
throne,
the
the
bone
bone throne in
throne.
Garlemald. But because there's a very similar scene for Zidane in Final Fantasy IX, and the piece of music that plays in that time is called "You're Not Alone," and it's stylistically very different from the rest, and it's a really hard-hitting piece because of that. It just gets you.
Yeah, just to summarize, since we did it last week, I have played 9 Amy. Basically, the final set of sequences before the last battle in Final Fantasy IX involve you realizing you're actually like a doll or a tool created by this other world of beings that live embedded in Gaia, and the supposed big bad just kind of turns you off, and so you're kind of waking from a comatose state, and Zidane's kind of a stubborn prick anyway, and he's just trying to go like save the world himself, and his friends start to trickle in saying, "Quit being stupid, we're here." And the
And
songs,
I think his memories were messed up too, right? Sorry.
yeah, they're messed up. They're foggy.
Garland took his soul.
Took his
away.
soul. That's what's going on. He like just ripped it out of you, and so you're able to wake from
Soul
this.
extraction.
Right. But he's able to wake from it anyway. Like that's the critical juncture. Like you probably narratively should be done here, but his will is so strong that he makes something happen, right? And then all of his friends show up.
My thinking hearing that is like Azem dies, or we die rather, and then when we're in the underworld, Hades and all of our other friends like Harchifant and Uzael,
Oh
maybe
no.
even Conrad, Mephrid, Wilred,
That's rude.
Pacolimo, Moonbrita, like everybody, like they
You
show
bring
up
that
and they're
up,
like,
now people are gonna lose it.
yeah, like
It's possible.
you're not alone.
Well,
They're
there's
gonna fucking be there.
there's so much. We haven't even touched on this recently, but there's so much. This has happened before in these games, right? Like in 4, you have the prayers at Mysidia resing the party at Zeromus. In 5, you've got the Warriors of Dawn praying to empower the Warriors of Light against X-Death, etc. ad nauseum. So it really wouldn't be that strange for us to see something like that, especially given we've got the Bone Throne. So
If I may, that image reminds me of a certain bit of a dialogue in Stormblood that perhaps you may recall. Some are fated to rise in glory, and some are fated some to wither and falter and fade, though
Fade,
not
yeah.
from memory. Both will be your what was
Your strength and salvation
your
and come
strength
the
and
end.
salvation come the end. Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks,
so
Grandmama.
expect our friends to show up, even our friends who weren't our friends.
Yeah. And you did
Our
remind
friend,
me
our
of
enemy.
something I did want to bring
So
up.
you mean our friends?
Our friends,
Our friends.
our friends and
Ooh,
frenemies.
ooh.
Our
Stop it.
besties.
Hello.
But no,
Stop it.
something you did
All of
remind
you.
me that I wanted to touch on. I've touched on it in our Discord a little bit, but It's interesting that 9, 10, and 14 all have this common thread with their protagonists not being seen as a quote-unquote real person. Because in 9, you've got, basically a doll as the protagonist.
Yep.
In 10, you've got a dream as a protagonist. And then in 14, we're sundered and quote-unquote not a real person, but we're also getting varied hints that there may be more to it than that.
Yeah, given how much damage we're doing to the big plan, like, apparently not being whole isn't so much of a problem if you were with the original badass.
Yeah.
I'm thinking again of fucking.
You were the original volcano puncher. Nothing.
Yeah, like, again, the short story, right? Just for flavor and for fun. Like, basically the story says that Azem decides to use the Ifrita concept to summon the volcano into a corporeal form that he can beat the shit out of. And then he did it all for some wine. Like, he loves grapes, all right?
Are you okay?
No, it's the story.
I'm just thinking that the whole thing about
The grapes are apparently tasty, says Elidibus. Like,
that I'm just thinking again what Boney said.
Wait till he tries wine.
mm-hmm.
I'm not okay. No. Well, anyways, I don't know if you asked me, but no, I'm not.
No,
okay.
I already know.
Alex the Swan Guy says, also want to buy Mammoth Silk. SE, make it happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, y'all really should let Meowth
Agreed.
actually finish her thought.
Oh, please go ahead.
Go for it.
It would be a bit long to explain. My thought was basically
We're here. The
We
floor
have
is
time.
yours.
You're not alone.
Yeah, you're not alone. For what it's worth.
Rude.
That was good.
You're welcome.
No, I mean what Boney was saying about these games that take the reference as a main character that's not. I don't know. I mean, you use the Warrior of Light as example as being sounded, and my mind went to straight to line returns again. I was like, even though I mean, it's not the main character's case, but well, you could argue that it's actually the main character's case. How the fuck do I explain this shit? It's just I mean yeah. Listen, I'm going to put it simple. In Line Returns, Lightning is the main character, apparently, but the story is not about her. It's about Hope. There, I said it.
I really need to finish watching your Lightning Returns playthrough because it seems so juicy.
Tell
It
her.
does.
Well, I mean, Neela knows because he endured with the entire shit.
I mean, the Ark and Yggdrasil and all the other shit going on that I spotted when I was looking up stuff in reference to that dungeon in the launch trailer.
Don't make me go into the fucking Ark because we'll be here until.
We can do that next weekend.
The heat death of the universe.
Yeah, perfect entropy. GG.
Did someone say entropy?
Yes. Oh. Oh my.
Chaos.
Audio
Just go
entropy.
forward and back.
Entropy only increases.
Oh boy.
Seeking the peace of reason.
Oh, Alexander. Alexander, guys.
Season.
Alexander, notable for being another one who saw that the world will come to a point where, like, the whole of the future will rest in the hands of one hero.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sentient time machines, OP.
Did that cover
Tinfoil
pretty
hat
much?
time.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
If it's resting in the hands of one hero, what happened to all of our friends?
Well, fine, but
So
I don't agree.
I want to say
Dead.
that could apply to anything. That could even apply to something in the future from now.
I mean, it could apply simply to Emmett Selg letting us live against Elidibus. Like, it's just so broad. But I do take the "it's about us" angle personally.
Are you talking about Alexander's thing?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I mean, it shows a picture of your Warrior of Light while it's talking about that, which is I'm trying to remember their names. Mead and
Diane.
Mide and
Diane.
Yeah, Mead and Diane.
Yeah, I was trying to remember his name. Yeah, it was them talking together, and he's telling
Dayun?
her like what the
Diane.
simulation saw, and it cuts from them chilling in this nowhere zone to suddenly a picture of your Warrior of Light. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it's very intentional.
But as Bonnie said, what happened to all your friends if it depends on you? You know, it doesn't mean they're all dead, right? It just means you're the pivotal entity. But it could mean they're all dead.
Providing support. It could be everyone's dead. Thanks, Xenos.
You die, or someone else dies, and you have to go to the underworld to save them. Or you need Emmett Salk's help. You go down to the underworld and you enlist his help.
I mean, I also still kind of want us going to the underworld to be about saving Hades, because if Thal's balls is in fact related to the underworld, something's really wrong.
Where's Null's balls?
We don't even knock. We just kick down his door. Are you in here? You're not sleeping, are you?
I mean, imagine a scenario where we have to kick down the doors of the underworld and be like, okay, we're evacuating all of these souls because the underworld is just completely fucked.
We're doing a literal Jesus-style harrowing of hell.
Also, you need to take care of your
Jesus, but kicking down the door.
Behold, I am kicking down the door.
Get in, losers. We're going sundering.
Yeah. I was waiting for a moment. Thank you for taking it.
I will say, I can also see
Get in the
scenarios
car,
in which we
loser.
are forcibly sent to the underworld, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for that too.
I still think, like, perhaps, how many times can I say bone throne?
That's probably going to be the moment. And then
I think that's when we're dreaming into the underworld. I don't know if we physically go there, but I am interested if we do.
And then Hades is going to be like, oh good, you actually listened to me this time and came alone.
We're going to get plugged into the bone throne and just transcend reality.
The power to transcend.
Transcend the ego collective?
Yes. Just burr into transcendence.
As we ride again to another end, where it all begins, forge ahead.
I will say they've been saying an ending to mark a new beginning for a long time, and now I'm just like, you sneaky bastards.
Okay, about that though, did you know that exact line is used in the No Clip documentary?
Oh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I rewatched the No Clip documentary recently because I wanted to see Pyro's reactions to it. And I forget if it's the second or third episode of that documentary when they start talking about ARR and stuff, you know, the transition from 1.0 to ARR. There's this title slide that they have in the documentary where, you know, it's a black screen and it's like, but every ending marks a new beginning. And I'm just like, you fuckers.
Yeah, it's very true.
Thanks for the follow, Yamato Sato.
Yay, more follows. More friends. Here's to more friends.
Yes, more friends.
So the yellow lines, right? Once again.
Corrupt you a little bit.
Only a little bit.
Don't drink the Goulas.
But do drink the Hades.
Do drink the Hades.
About the chorus being the new echo.
Yes.
With my chorus guiding you.
Mm-hmm.
Was it to you who I told about Greek choruses?
Yes.
Yeah.
As you turn your eyes to the stars, oh, I'll be there. With my chorus guiding you, forge ahead.
Thanks for the follow, Unholy Angelus.
And then every Emmett fucker on Twitter completely lost their shit.
Yes. But no, like, reviewing the lyrics and seeing the way the chorus was used in the earlier part of the song, and then especially this section, is part of why I was like, okay, it's going to end up being the name of the full echo, because the way it's used is just so sus.
Agreed.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, definitely.
And it is an echo of a symphony.
Mm-hmm. And a chorus is part of a symphony, right?
Even
Right?
those among you
They
who
are
tower over
small.
others in the gift have this what, the merest trace of it?
A slight
Only
The slightest
faintest
trace, the
trace of
faintest
it.
trace.
I have a lot of Elidibus lines. in my
Please,
notes,
you're my resource.
High five.
I just can't. I keep throwing back to this, how we're doing all this nonsense. I know we keep getting help, but you know, an 8-shard sundered soul kicking so much butt just is hard to believe. Just saying.
I'm honestly getting major creating a new world vibes from this song. Like, it could be literally or it could be figurative.
Like some kind of third way, creating a
Yeah.
third way for everybody to have a happier ending.
And after rewatching the whole Shinryu crap yesterday
Yeah.
and the Protostar stuff, and then harkening back to the Endwalker CGI trailer where we're on the moon and there's that glowy white in the background, I'm just like, there's something going on here.
Totally the Crystal World from 9, by the way. Where we fought him.
Burning brightly,
Like the
hot and
lightning
white.
return stuff and shepherding the souls to a new star.
I'm super
As Meowth
excited.
stares daggers at me.
There's that cough again.
She's just like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I am going to stab this hoe.
Glorious. To the edge.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of edging.
Never hurt anybody.
God.
And this is how we end streams, with bonkable behavior.
It's fine. Everything's
ending.
fine.
To mark a new beginning.
A little death, if you will.
As a treat.
That's right.
Just a little death as a treat.
So next week we're going to go full tinfoil hats. This week was kind of an exception because Endwalker lyrics just out of nowhere were thrown onto the floor, and we had to make a slight adjustment immediately. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was still somewhat tinfoil, but I'm going full foil hat next week, and
Next
you're going to
week,
get my full run through of how Endwalker is going to be, and going into 7.0.
We will get a measure of
Bring
Coberon's
your-
reach.
Bring your foil Amaratine robes and masks.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
A hat will not be enough.
No. Gold foil.
I
preferably.
don't.
We've been
I don't,
saving these for a long time, so be
I
prepared.
don't really have.
Be
I told these guys I don't really have many tinfoil hats right now that I can remember, and if I remember, Bonnie is probably going to tell them because we kind of sort of made up some of them together
Yeah.
a year ago. But if you're willing to bear with me somewhat, I can elaborate a bit with a bit more leisure about the 13th trilogy and Walker. But
Yes, we would love
Don't worry,
that.
we will.
I also want to add that this entire Lorelines project is all Meowth's fault. She started it.
Yeah.
That's false.
We learned
It's
it from
literally
watching
true.
you. We learned it from
It's
watching you.
absolutely true.
You were the first one to say podcast in the private chat.
Yeah.
Yee.
To emphasize this, to help clarify it, basically we're part of a just a small little private group chat, and we just got added one by one after kind of meeting each other through various discords and
communities and stuff.
communities and such. And then we would just kind of wake up to like 500 plus messages of us talking about lore and theory crafting, and then Meowth was like, podcast. Yes.
Yes.
And we were like, haha, okay, but what if? Okay, but what if for real?
Yeah.
Hi,
JK,
Joy.
Unless...
It's gonna feel extra surreal when we all meet at FanFest in the future.
I hate you.
Am I going to have to cosplay as them itself
Them
if
itself.
we
I
go
love
to
it.
a fan fest?
Sure, why not?
Love it.
I'll cosplay as a Zen.
I don't know if we have memory stones yet,
Oh.
but
I have
That's just a part of the origin story. Ayumi really summed it up, but it's actually longer.
listen, we're
It's
running
extensive.
out of time
A
here.
couple thousand messages long.
It's quite it's quite
So,
long.
a quick question before we completely and utterly derail even more. Did anyone else have comments for the last section of the Endwalker lyrics? You know, as we ride again, so on and so forth? Because we kind of derailed on that.
And you're thinking on raiding Hades.
So
You
that,
said it, not me.
that strikes me as a follow-up to riding home from Shadowbringers, and kind of we rode, we didn't necessarily get to where we wanted to go, but now we're riding again for one last chance to save our home.
All I can say is ride or die.
Yeah.
For real though, I'm
That's right.
I'm ready to forge ahead to December.
I mean,
gonna-
Nila, it could be die and ride in this order.
This is true. I mean, it could be ride and die.
Why not both, Korath?
Oh boy. All right. All right. All right. What did I hear?
Anyways, guys, stay tuned for next week. We're gonna have some fun next week, and it's obviously same time, same channel. Thanks for coming out. It's always a pleasure meeting everyone, seeing new people come in, talking nonsense, getting derailed off of our primary topic.
Of course.
But we always forge ahead.
Yes.
That's right.
If you want to chat more lore and, you know, just take part in our myriad shenanigans, you can join our Discord. And if you want to follow any of us individually, I have officially added our links to our website, so you can click on that link that I put in chat.
I also wanted to remind folks to please check out some of our standalone videos on our YouTube channel. There are lots of good ones, and we love reading the comments, and hopefully we'll have another one in production pretty soon, but nothing to announce quite yet.
I know, it's amazing. We have a Discord. Wow. What a bunch of nerds.
Wow.
Wow.
So thank you for tuning in. You guys have a great week. Only a couple weeks left.
We're going to be rating Rook. She's currently doing stuff on Guild Wars 2, so go check her out.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Exciting.
Give her a follow or a like.
Yeah. So next week, yeah. So next week I'm going to be here with another year on my back.
Yes.
You better.
Oh wait, is your birthday coming up
Next week.
Oh,
good.
Hey,
Birthday
Meow,
stream.
Woo!
you don't
What?
have to worry because you're not as old as me.
You're not alone.
Can't remember, but I might be the oldest on the crew.
you're not.
Oh,
We
that's
can
not
only
right.
hope
A tiny
it will
bit.
be a great stream.
Fuck you.
Hey. All right. Well, I guess I'll close
Like
this out
all your
here,
name days.
unless we have any other statements or decrees from
Nope.
the team.
Nope. Thank you all for joining us.
All right. We'll see you all next week. Thank you for coming.
See you next week.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks so much. It's fantastic to see you guys.
Yay. All right.